Good day, everyone. Welcome once again to Educ 501 with a course description, Philosophical and Sociological Foundations of Education. This video lecture is intended for my graduate students at the Graduate School of Eastern Visayas State University who are taking the course Master of Arts in Education. And for those listening to watching these video lectures who are not under me in the graduate school in this class, please take note that I implemented blended modality in my class, so I combined face-to-face sessions and online session through Moodle as our learning management system. So what I normally do is meet my students regularly face to face, but I also pre-record lectures. So I asked my students, like, I implemented like a flip classroom. So I asked my students to watch video lectures first, read materials before coming to class face to face, having the face to face session. And so when we meet face to face, students have read the materials, have watched the video lectures, so the discussion normally or usually become more meaningful and fruitful because, again, students already have ideas in advance. So I pre-record again most of my lectures and upload them to Moodle. And for today's video lecture, I will be discussing about the etymological and formal definition of sociology and including its nuances, its nature and dynamics. So again, the course is Philosophical and Sociological Foundations of Education. I'm done with the philosophical part, so I'll be now talking about sociology in this lecture. And then in the next video lecture, I will be discussing about how sociology underpins or serves as a foundation of education. So again, in this video lecture, I will briefly discuss the etymological and formal definition of sociology as well as its nuances, its nature and dynamics, including some of the subject matter of sociology. So let's begin. So what is sociology? Sociology comes from the two Greek word socios, which means companion, and study, which means and logos, which means study. So sociology literally means discourse about companionship or study about companionship. But later on, philosophy or sociology became famously known as the study of society. As a discipline, it is important to know that as a discipline, sociology emerged in the 19th century during a time of great social change marked by industrialization, urbanization, and political revolutions in Europe. Thinkers such as Auguste Comte, Karl Marx, Emile Durkheim, and Max Weber lay the foundations of sociology by analyzing how these changes, especially again during the industrial revolution, were affecting social life. So from the very beginning, sociology was basically part of philosophy, but it became, in fact, most of these founders of sociology are philosophers in their own right. And then, so again, from the very beginning, sociology was basically part of philosophy, but became a specialized discipline or an independent discipline in the 19th century. The term it is important to know that the term sociology as a study of society was coined by the French philosopher Isidore Auguste Marie-François Xavier Comte, or simply Auguste Comte, who is also a mathematician and writer who formulated the doctrine of positivism. Formally, however, Sociology is defined as the systematic and scientific study of human society, social relationships, and the patterns of behavior that people develop as members of a group. So, in short, sociology is a specific, uh, uh, or sociology is a social science that studies society and how people behave and relate with each other. Sociology also explores how individuals interact with one another, how societies are structured, and how various social institutions such as family, education, religion, economy, and government influence people's lives. In particular, sociology investigates the norms, values, roles, and expectations that guide human behavior. Hence, sociology is concerned not only with how people behave in the society, but also with the reasons behind their actions. The American Sociological Association, according to the American Sociological Association, since all human behavior is social by nature, there is no action of man that is not social in nature. The subject matter of sociology, therefore, ranges from the intimate family to the hostile mob, from the organized crime to religious cults, from sociology of war to the sociology of sports, from the divisions of race, gender, and social class to shared beliefs of a common culture. And indeed, sociologists look at how these aspects of society shapes people's opportunities, relationships, and identities. For example, sociology can help explain why educational outcomes differ between social groups, how cultural beliefs influence behavior, or why certain communities are more prone to social problems like poverty or crime. So when it comes to understanding how really people behave and relate with each other, how people do things, and why do they behave that way? Why is that the poor, for example, do not poor students do not perform well in schools, while those who are educated in private institutions, established institutions, do well in life and things like that. So these are the subject matter of sociology, and as we can see. Since education is all about, not just all about, but since education is very much concerned about the formation of the child, the production of a child, the formation of the production of a child into professionals in the future that could contribute positively to society. So we cannot dissociate sociology from education. So education should always be viewed from the vantage point of sociology as well as of philosophy as well. That is why, again, I think that's one of the major reasons why in the Bachelor of Science in Education and in the Master of Arts in Education, Philosophical and Sociological Foundations of Education is one of the foundation courses. Okay. And it is important to note that one of the central concerns of sociology is social inequality. So this is really, m- to me, at the core of the classical understanding of sociology, the problem of social inequality. So, of course, when we study the society of example or social inequality, we use different lenses, philosophical, sociological, anthropological lenses. So there is an interplay between and among disciplines in the study of social inequality. But this concern, this pressing problem, is always at the core of sociology as a study of society. Hence, sociologists also examine how wealth, power, and privilege are distributed across society and how these disparities affect individuals and groups. That is why there's this famous sub-branch in sociology we call political sociology. So looking at the political spectrum from the vantage point of sociology. Issues about power, for example, again, wealth distribution and things like that is also dealt with in sociology. Indeed, having a strong grasp of the basics of sociology, especially for education students, is important as it helps us appreciate diversity and enables us to better understand the complexities of human behavior. Again, just to reiterate, since one of the main concerns of education is the formation, the nurturing, nourishment, and the production of the again, one of the primary concerns of education is the nourishment, is the formation of the child into a professional into professionals, responsible professionals one day that could contribute significantly to society. And so therefore, education must always be viewed from the vantage point of sociology. Sociology, therefore, sociological theories and principles, therefore, are very important foundations of education. And so by studying sociology, at least understanding its nuances, we gain a deeper awareness of how our personal lives are intertwined with larger social and historical context. This understanding is also valuable not only for academic purposes, but also for creating informed citizens who can contribute to building a more and just equitable society. So that's all for today's video lecture on the meaning, nature, and dynamics of sociology. Thank you very much for your attention, and in my next video lecture, I will discuss very briefly how sociology serves as a foundation of education. That's all for now. Have a good one.